Serbia. Located in the heart of Europe, it appears to be an ordinary, even slow-paced country from the outside. But beneath this surface lies a very different world. This video reveals the true face of a country that is small on the map, but huge in the criminal network. 1. The truth buried in the ground. Serbia's massacres that were to be forgotten. Serbia's past is filled with thousands of bodies buried in the ground. This country did not just fight at the end of the 1990s, it killed. And most of those deaths are still not officially discussed. July 11, 1995, Srebrenica. Serbian forces entered the UN-protected zone and systematically executed 8,373 Bosnian men and boys. The bodies were buried in forests, mines, and lime pits.
The man at the helm of the massacre, General Ratko Mladic.
In 2017, he was sentenced to life in prison. But the system that enabled him has still not been questioned. During the 1998 to 1999 Kosovo War, more than 13,000 civilians were killed. The Rakic massacre is one of the most well-known. 45 people were executed with their hands tied. This event was the turning point in NATO's decision to intervene in Serbia. Mass graves were discovered in military areas near Belgrade. More than 700 bodies were found at the Batajnica base alone. The country buried its own crimes on its own soil. 2. A system that protects the guilty, not pursues them. Corrupt police and intelligence. In Serbia, criminals don't play hide-and-seek with the police. Because most of the time, they are already on the same side. When the Veljko Belivuk gang was dismantled in 2021, not only Mafia members but also officials who had infiltrated the police and security units were exposed. The investigation file revealed that gang members used police radio frequencies, were informed of operations in advance, and were in direct contact with some police officers. Moreover, gang members traveled with official police protection to move freely around the city. Security camera footage showed gang members traveling in a convoy with police vehicles. This is not cooperation, it is intertwined. The Ministry of the Interior dismissed some police officers. But the system itself did not change. Because this corruption is not just a matter of a few individuals. It was a crack in a structure that had been built up over years. In Serbia, the police uniform is sometimes worn not to determine who is guilty, but to determine who will be protected. What should be a security unit has now become something else, a system that covers up crime, protects it, and sometimes even manages it. 3 millions behind the stands, the anatomy of money laundering in football. In Serbia, football is not just a sport. It is also a money laundering system. When the stadium lights come on, it's not just the game that starts. Money starts flowing too. Millions of euros. Big clubs like Red Star and Partizan are known not only for their successes, but also for allegations of dirty money. Transfers are inflated, sponsorship deals are exaggerated, and money circulates through player agents. On paper, everything looks official. But often, the money involved comes from drug trafficking. Documents uncovered after the Belivuk gang was dismantled in 2021 revealed that gang members had connections ranging from fan leadership to club management. The stands are the mafia's power on the streets. But the clubs are the cover for the cash. In this system, both crime and money circulate under the same roof. UEFA's audit unit has prepared 7 separate reports on financial irregularities involving Serbian clubs over the past 3 years. But no serious investigation has been launched internally. Because here, football is not just a game. It is a money laundering operation conducted in plain sight. 4. Not the mafia, but a parallel state. How did criminal organizations become managers? In Serbia, the mafia is not underground, it is right at the center. In 2003, the country's prime minister, Zoran Đinđić, was assassinated in Belgrade. The trigger was pulled by a soldier, but the plan was made by the Zeman gang. This was the first time a mafia had executed a country's leader. The gang leaders were killed shortly afterwards in a clash with the police. But their connections within the state remained intact. These connections resurfaced 10 years later under another name, Veljko Belivuk. Belivuk managed the fan groups of the Partizan Club. But his real business was drugs, kidnapping, and executions. When arrested in 2021, he stated, "We worked for the state. They told us who to eliminate." This statement showed that in Serbia, the mafia grew not only from outside but also from within. Gang members used police radios, operated in safe zones, and were protected by political support. Forensic medicine found human remains in Belivuk's villa. Some victims had been dismembered and destroyed. Today in Serbia, the Mafia is not just on the streets. It is within the decision-making mechanisms, under protection, and part of the system. In this country, crime is not just committed. It is recorded and ignored. 5. Europe's main drug artery. How did Serbia become a logistics hub? Serbia is small on the map, but a major crossroads in the drug trade. The Balkan route plays a leading role in getting cocaine from Latin America to Europe. The most critical stop on this route is Serbia. In 2024, a major operation led by Europol seized 8 tons of cocaine. The drugs had left South America and were to be smuggled into Serbia via the Canary Islands and Africa. The plan, to start distribution in Belgrade, then spread to Germany, Austria, and Italy. Most of the 40 people arrested were Serbian citizens. But this is only the visible part. The Serbian Mafia operates directly in Brazilian and Colombian ports. According to a 2023 Reuters report, cocaine is loaded into containers through networks established with port officials through bribery. So they are no longer just buyers, but now in a position of direct control. In 2025, Serbian police seized 1.6 tons of drugs in a joint operation with Norway and Sweden. This showed that Serbia is not just a transit point, but a logistics hub. Shipping routes, storage points, safe transit routes. All are planned in this country. Serbia is no longer just a bridge, it is a hub. And every gram of drugs that passes through this hub is known to the system. 6. Just look at their faces. Silent monitoring with digital surveillance. It's not just people watching the streets of Serbia anymore. There are cameras. And these cameras are tracking not just criminals, but everyone. Since 2020, facial recognition systems have been installed at critical points in Belgrade. The official reason: public safety. But behind the system are Chinese-made software, Russian-partnered technical teams, and an algorithm focused on total control. Civil society organizations have repeatedly warned, these systems are being used to monitor the movements of ordinary citizens. Opposition journalists, activists, and academics critical of the government are under constant surveillance. Before some protests, organizers are stopped by police before they even take to the streets. The system appears silent. But once it recognizes your face, your every move is recorded. There is almost no transparency in the legal sphere. Where are the data stored? Who has access? How many people are being monitored? It is unknown. This is not a physical shackle, but a digital one. And it tightens imperceptibly. Serbia can maintain control without police on the streets. Because now it is enough for them to look at your face. 7. The mask of justice is falling. Is the judiciary protecting criminals? Courtrooms in Serbia do not dispense justice. They only read out verdicts. And these verdicts are often written based on who is powerful. With the constitutional amendment adopted in 2022, the selection of Supreme Court and Court of Cassation members came under complete political control. Judges are no longer independent. They are appointed. They are not bound. They are indebted. That is why the vast majority of major corruption and mafia cases opened in recent years have either been dismissed or left pending. In some cases, not a single hearing has been held for months. In others, witnesses have disappeared, evidence has vanished. Similar examples were seen in the court proceedings involving the Veljko Belivuk gang. Phone conversations between gang members and some security officials were recorded, but most of this evidence was not considered in court. Not only crime, but justice is also being filtered. The public no longer trusts the courts, but the media. Because there, the truth can still be heard. But when the media is silenced, only silence remains. In Serbia, the judiciary does not determine who is guilty. It confirms who is untouchable. 8. Writing the truth is prohibited. Silenced press and unseen censorship. In Serbia, the truth cannot make headlines. Because when you write the truth, you become a target. Here, journalism is not a profession, but a risky field. Journalists are not only silenced, they are monitored, threatened, beaten. And some never speak again. In 2022, 36 journalists were blacklisted in the country, 5 were physically attacked. The most targeted, reporters investigating mafia-state relations. The news they published was removed within hours. If not, lawsuits were filed. If not, threats were made. The European Federation of Journalists declared Serbia one of Europe's most repressive media environments. Some television channels are directly financed by companies owned by the government. Newspaper owners are businesspeople connected to the government. So the news is filtered before it even makes the headlines. Censorship has also spread to the digital sphere. Social media accounts that share opposition content are being shut down. Some users are being summoned for questioning on charges of inciting the public against state institutions. So now it's not just journalists, ordinary citizens are also targets. The problem in Serbia isn't just not being able to speak. If you try to speak, you know what will happen. 9. Independence for sale, an economy surrendered to foreign investments. In Serbia, it's not just factories that are being sold, but independence too. In recent years, the country has become completely dependent on foreign powers in strategic sectors. And this dependence is not economic, it is political surrender. A large part of the energy infrastructure is controlled by Russia's Gazprom company. Natural gas distribution, pricing, and agreements are carried out unilaterally. Serbia is completely at the mercy of Russia in this area. Meanwhile, Chinese investments have also increased rapidly. From the Belgrade-Budapest high-speed train project to steel factories, from port infrastructure to facial recognition cameras, numerous critical systems are in the hands of Chinese companies. Most of these agreements were made in secret from the public. The people do not know how much debt was incurred or what collateral was provided. Foreign capital is not investing in the country. It is buying up parts of the state. Serbia can no longer determine its own energy policies. Infrastructure projects are being awarded to foreign contractors, not local engineers. And as the debt increases, so does the loss of decision-making power. This is not development. It is a slow, silent surrender. 10. The invisible partner, Serbia's backdoor to Russia. Serbia's official foreign policy may appear to be oriented toward Europe, but the real partner behind the scenes is Russia. The bilateral relationship is not limited to energy or diplomacy. It also involves intelligence, education, and surveillance technologies. In 2023, a security academy, established near Belgrade, came to the fore with allegations that it was financed by Russia. Officially, it was a center for training young police candidates. But according to leaked internal documents, the following were taught at this center: social media manipulation, protest control techniques, and psychological operations. That same year, it emerged that the facial recognition cameras installed on Belgrade's busiest streets were jointly produced by China and Russia. It was alleged that this system was used not only for public security, but also to monitor journalists and dissidents. Serbia maintains a position that is distant from NATO, but keeps warm ties with Russia. Therefore, the country is becoming a logistical base for Russian influence in the Balkans. Outwardly neutral. But in every crisis, it is very clear which side it leans towards. 11. A structure that looks like a state but does not act like one, a power network in Serbia. It is impossible to explain what is happening in Serbia in a single word. Because this is not just a mafia story. Nor is it just a chain of corruption or a history of war crimes. It is a fully woven web. It is difficult to distinguish who is guilty and who is responsible. Because often the same people make decisions, provide protection, and maintain their own order. One hand appears to dispense justice, while the other hand suppresses documents. One screen monitors the streets in the name of security, but the same system files away opponents. The state works not for the people, but for the cliques within itself. At the bottom of the system is always the ordinary citizen. They just watch, remain silent, conform. Because those who ask questions can disappear. Those who resist can be silenced. And over time, everyone begins to believe that this is how things should be. That is why in Serbia, the real power is not in the seat. It is hidden where the camera does not see, in the document where the signature is not made, and in the men no one can touch. This is not a state. This is a system that operates in the shadows.